2021. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. We're here to answer all of your Canadian immigration questions. If you're worried about that guy in the back, don't worry, it's not real. We're here to answer your immigration related questions, whether you're inside or outside of Canada. We are a licensed immigration firm here in Toronto. We help clients across the country. We speak over 7 languages, and the way it works today is you post your question in the comment section of whatever platform you're connecting with us, and we will answer live to whether it's studying, working, permanent residency, sponsorships, restoring, renewing, setting up a business, hiring your family member for your business. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do, and we're here to help you with. So what we're gonna do today is, if anybody has any questions, they can post it here. Since I am alone on today's Instagram Live and Facebook and YouTube, if anybody would like to join and ask their question, and then I'll disconnect them. So the way it'll work today is you can ask your question, for example, on Instagram, and then if I see the question is okay, you can join and I can answer you live. And the reason I'll do that is because sometimes it's easier, right, for you to be able to communicate. This is Elaman is asking to setting up a business. Setting up a business in Canada is not difficult. You don't need a visa. You don't need any approval from the Canadian government to actually set up or buy a business in Canada. So this is something that most people think that, oh, I need a visa or work permit. No, buying or setting up or registering a business, no, you don't need that. If you're gonna work on your business inside of Canada, yeah, you need a work permit, and it's possible if you invest and set up your business here. So that's a general notion that most people don't understand about setting up businesses or buying businesses. They always think, oh, do I need approval from immigration? No, you only need approval if you're working inside of Canada. If you're investing and just setting up the business, that's not considered work. However, if anybody has any other questions, feel free to post your questions in the comment section of whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. We are here to answer your questions for free. We do it every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is the local time in Toronto, New York, Ottawa, Montreal, wherever you're on the East Coast of North America. Every Tuesday we're here in case you have any questions. And if you missed this session and you're watching a recording, we can be back again next Tuesday. A few questions that people have emailed us before and they don't know how to handle. One is the provincial nominee program for each province. So some people have done a 1-year postgraduate certificate here in Ontario, whether it's Toronto or anywhere else in Ontario, and now they want to go through the provincial nominee program. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way because the program you studied is going to be defining whether you are eligible for the Ontario Provincial Nominee International Student Stream. Okay, if it's not the International Student Stream, you can still be eligible. But if you study for a 1-year postgraduate certificate and that program, the eligibility or admission requirements for that program were not as per the Ontario Provincial Nominee International Student Stream criteria, then you are not eligible. So there were some people who were thinking that they were eligible, but they're not. So you need to be aware of that. When you're picking a program to study, remember, the last TR to PR pathway program, it would not allow people who did a 1-year certificate in college or diploma, unless it was in the trades, unless it was a master's higher education degree, right? So before you come to Canada, before you start studying, make sure you think of what happens after, right? So the same way you would buy, I don't know, when you buy a car, you think about the warranty. You think about, okay, who's going to service it? How much is it going to cost me to maintain this car after the warranty, before the warranty? All these, how much do I spend on gas, this, that. The same thing with education in Canada as an international student. So if you're coming in and you're like, hey, I've got this college, it's great, it's cheap. I'm going to this college in Toronto or Vancouver, right? And, I'll be great. I'll do that, and then I'll apply for my PR. Well, newsflash, not every program is equal in the eyes of immigration here in Canada. So if you're doing a 2-year diploma program, a 1-year certificate, a 1-year master's program, all of them have different consequences for you as an immigrant who intends to apply for permanent residency. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then I suggest you do some research. You can reach out to us on our website or Instagram, and we can explain to you the process, right? So if you've already picked a program and you're planning to come, but you don't know how you'll convert to your permanent residency after, that's going to be a major issue, right? Right? That's like building a house without having a blueprint, having a plan. How would you build a building or a house without having a plan of where your washroom is, where your living room is, where your bedroom is, where's your garage, where's your kitchen? The same thing with immigration. It's not just, hey, I'm just going to come to Canada. How will you convert to permanent residence? If you don't want to convert to permanent residence, great. You can study anything, summer camp, language school, anything. But if your ultimate goal is to immigrate here on your own, maybe with family, then you need to do your homework, right? Anything else is the same, right? When you travel, to a nice destination for holiday, don't you do some research? Like, hey, how much do tickets cost? From this city to that city, should I rent a car? Should I go with a tour bus? Is this hotel near an area that I want to be? And then all these other factors. Same with Canadian education for international students. So don't just get up and pick a school or pick a program because it's cheap or because you like it. I know you have to study something you like, 100%. I'm a supporter of that. But think about the immigration after, the permanent residency application after. Right now, as of the TR to PR pathway, which was open for international students, healthcare workers, and essential non-healthcare occupations, 2 of those programs closed. The eligibility for international students was, it should not have been a 1-year certificate in college or a diploma unless it was in trades, unless you did a master's in university, right? So that is key to know, and each province has their own criteria. So if you're in Nova Scotia, if you're in Saskatchewan, if you're in British Columbia, these are all different criteria. The federal programs have different criteria, and new programs that are announced by the federal government will have their own eligibility criteria. And there's one common theme between all of them. They don't like 1-year programs unless it was masters or trades. What is a trade? It's welding, piping, electricians, it could be anything in construction as a trade, right? You could be a millwright, you could be any trades, right? So those are really key important things to notice. Again, if anybody just joined us in the last few minutes, we're talking about international students, this programs they should be studying. If you have questions, please post them here on Instagram Live, Facebook, and YouTube. We're here every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, local time in Toronto, 5 p.m. Again, we'll be back here today in case you missed and you're just watching a recording of this, okay? So that was our little thing about which universities are good to do PhD. PhD is dependent on you finding a professor who will supervise you, right? PhDs are not about, hey, I'm just going to go to this university. PhDs are which professor will accept you, right? That's what it is. If you don't know any professor, if you don't have any contacts in the university, it'll be very difficult, right? Professors are very busy. They already have a lot of students for PhD and whatnot, or postdoctorate and other degrees. So if they don't know you, they get hundreds of emails of people asking them for PhDs. We don't do that service as well because it's very niche. It's very time consuming. It's all about your contacts and your network as a student if you want to do PhD. Wherever you can get a PhD professor to accept you, take it, because it's not something you're going to have a big choice in. You're not going to have 10 universities where each professor in those wants you, unless you're like, at the very high end. So again, for anybody joining us today, post your question on the comment section of the live platform that you're joining us, and we're happy to answer your immigration questions for free. Yes, outside of Tuesday live events like this, we do charge all of our clients for consultations, for processing. This is the only time we're not requesting any money, and we're just here to help our viewers, our followers, or anybody that friends or family, to be able to answer the question. So whether it's about how to fill a form, your eligibility, how to do an application, how to follow up, refusals. Remember, people do get reviews in the embassies for work permits, study permits, visitor visas, and even permanent, study permits, permanent residence, all sorts of refusals. So hi, greetings from Venezuela. Greetings. How is the job field for an agronomist expert in dairy production? It's a very peculiar job, that you're asking. I'm no expert in the field. All I know is that the more niche your occupation is, it could be good or bad, right? It's not like you can actually be hired in other industries, right? So you have to be ready that each province will be different. So when you're talking about the job field, so in the job field in Ontario could be so-so, but somewhere else in another province in Canada could be much better. It's very specific question, agronomist expert in dairy production. And the only way you can find out is actually connecting on the job sites in Canada and seeing, are there job openings? If there aren't, then that gives you an indication. It's a very niche occupation. I don't think it's going to be, in certain provinces, I think it'll be challenging, but some areas you might see that there's good demand. So it's very niche that you're asking. So we have another question here. Gulme Haq Singh, 31. What is the current processing time for PR applications, received invitations under the PNP program for federal worker experience? You're looking at 18 months. Okay, so we do have clients right now who are in the PR process. They applied last December. They have another 13 months left. Okay, so just gives you an idea. It's very slow. The provincial nominee program process is the slowest, okay? Unless you're going through the express entry, which is faster. So if you're doing provincial nominee program through express entry, probably within 6 to 12 months, it can be processed. But if it's just a regular provincial nominee program, permanent residency processing, it will take 18 months, okay? There are tolerances in that timeline. It could be 16, 15, or 20, but that gives you an idea. So, and dentist, thanks for answering. Okay, so from Venezuela, there's a follow-up question. Dentist is good, but you need the licensing. So let's say you studied in Latin America, and South America, or somewhere else. You're a dentist, and you're coming here to become a dentist. Well, you need to go through all the examinations. So we have a lot of family friends who came from other countries. They had to retake all the examinations to become a dentist. And that will take time. That will take you minimum 2 years because you have to study the books and take the exam. So minimum 2 years, and you have to have very good English. And then let's say you go through all that. Well, then great. Dentists are good. You can find jobs. Yeah, there's a lot of jobs. You can set up your own practice, your own clinic. There's a lot of opportunities, but are you willing to go through the whole examination process again and knowing all the facts based on the books that the Canadian universities and the dental association that they expect you to know. So it's a process, but yes, there's demand, there's opportunity. Same with a hygienist. So dental hygienist, lots of opportunity, great pay, but again, there's a licensing, there's a whole educational process, right? Gul Mehak Singh 31 says it was through express entry. Yeah, express entry, I would say, can take anywhere from 4 to 10 months right now, based on provincial nominee programming. I would say an average consider 6 months, but if it's 8 months, if it's 4 months, don't whether it's good or bad, that could happen. So express entry provincial nominee is much faster than regular provincial. We have another, let's see, a question. And lawyers, Jorge Luis says, okay, lawyers. So I guess regarding, and dentists. So regarding job opportunities for lawyers. How's the job? Okay, yeah. So lawyers need to be licensed, right? So there's a lot of opportunity for lawyers, but you need to be licensed by taking the examination to become licensed with the Upper Law Society of Canada. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for lawyers, but you need to be aware of Canadian law. So if you're coming here and you just want to do Canadian law and you don't have experience, you're not licensed, well, you're not a lawyer. You could consider becoming a paralegal, which is faster, about a year, right? It's easier. You can also take the examinations to convert your knowledge to Canadian, to become a Canadian lawyer. The process is there. The website is available. However, if you want to practice law, remember in Quebec, they have their own law, which is the French system. And then we have regular English type system for the rest of Canada. So if you're practicing in Quebec, different story. If I'm a lawyer practicing in Toronto, I cannot practice in Quebec, okay? But if you're coming from outside of Canada and you don't have a license here, you're not licensed to be a lawyer in Canada, you need to go through the licensing or the conversion. So lawyers are good. Just make sure you are familiar with Canadian law. You can get licensed and you can practice in the field that you specialize in. So let's say you want to do family law. Well, you have to come and learn all the regulations here. So it's a little bit tricky. It's time consuming. It's not quick. So it is challenging. So let's say you're an IT, a software programmer. Well, you don't need any licensing. Because software programming in South America or Middle East or Africa is the same as in Canada. Or if you're a cook, right? Or if you're a marketing manager, project manager, right? But lawyers and medical practitioners like doctors, dentists, anything legal, anything medical, these require licensing. So if it's physiotherapists, psychologists, chiropractors, same thing, licensing, which means examinations, which means you have to read the books or take the courses. Right? The conversion is available, but again, remember, it is time consuming, it is costly, it may be frustrating. Do you know if the pathway online is finishing soon? So German, Mata. Well, 2 of the pathways are already closed. So only the healthcare is open now, right? So if you're not in those healthcare occupations, the other 2 streams are closed, right? So no problem. If anybody has any questions, and if there's no questions, we'd love to see you back here at 5 p.m. today. Okay, so 5 p.m. our time. In Toronto, you can check what time that is locally there. If there's no other questions, we will wrap up today. Again, we are here to answer you and help you. The way it works is you post your question in the comment section. We will answer live. This is the best opportunity to get free immigration advice from a licensed person here in Canada. If you don't know anything about us, go to our website, ingwe.ca, ingwe.ca, and we have a whole team of licensed immigration experts. So it is a company. It's not a one-person show. It's not just me. You see me here live, but the company itself has a lot of different staff members and team members who are helping everybody immigrating across borders for different reasons. No matter where you are from, we speak over 7 languages: Spanish, Portuguese, Mandarin, Cantonese, Farsi, English, whatever languages there are, well, we'll have you covered. Okay. So we're going to wrap up for today. We'll be back here at 5 p.m. If you or anybody you know does require immigration advice, or in terms of just answering your questions live, because we cannot really give a lot of advice because you're not a client, but we can answer your questions, whether eligibility or what's happened or regarding new programs. Okay. So we will sign off. If you missed us today, 5 p.m., we're back here. Thank you, YouTube members, viewers. Thank you to